Hello, R678 students for week 6. I'm officially an IU professor today, as you can tell, with my IU tie. In fact, I think I have IU at the bottom of this tie. There it is. IU. Go IU. Yay! I will try to get through this with a cold, but some of it I may go a little rapidly through so I can get to my trusty Kleenex, or I might take little breaks in there. So I'll go through some notes related to open education, week 6, leading us to next week and the week after on MOOCs. What was I going to say? My notes are already posted in Dropbox. I will go through 2 studies that we've conducted. So let me try to share my screen and hopefully we get that. There it is. And I will go to full view. And on the left is Xiaojing Ko, who's still at IU, was my student since around 2000. She got her PhD in IST. Feng Ru Xu also has her PhD in IST and 3 masters. And then Mimi Lee has her PhD in IST and was on my MOOCs book research team. So we're going to look at some of the stuff that we've done. I'm still working with some of these people on self-directed open and online learning and successes. That picture was taken in June of 2013, I believe, so about 6.5 years ago. Time flies. So learning is becoming more self-directed. Letting the learner choose the contents that they want, create the courses and make them available to the learners through openlearning.com or some other forum, through Udemy, U-D-E-M-Y, through Coursera or EDX, or other opportunities for people to learn on their own. Take a look at openlearning.com, see if you like it. We just had Jim Nagaya in as our guest. At the time, 2015, he had taken 250 MOOCs and counting. Now, 730, I believe, or 740, of which 330 some he completed. That's just amazing, and that's insane. But that's what he had access to for his education, and that's what he utilized to enhance his life and gain new perspectives, make new friends, add his credentials in terms of certificates, but it still hasn't officially resulted in a job from all those MOOCs. So one has to wonder a little bit about what the benefits of taking all those MOOCs were. Now, Min-Kyung Kim used to be my TA in this course, and she created a couple of slides related to open educational resources and how you can freely use, adapt, and distribute them. This is a relatively recent phenomenon. The open ed and open university movement started in 1969 with the UK Open University, which celebrated 50 years this past year. Now is at the celebration in Scotland in September, to 2001 when MIT said, let's make all our courses free. When Charles Vest, the president of MIT, said, free to the world, let's make them. And OpenCourseWare was born. So we had open universities in 69. Now we have tons of open universities, including Indira Gandhi Open University with millions of students. The Open U of China, millions of students. Open U of Terbuka, Indonesia, 850,000 students. The Open U of Philippines I've been to. Open U of Israel I've been to. Malaysia, I've been to all of them, except for Indonesia. I actually not India yet. I've been invited. Just talking to someone from there today. So we've had this movement to OCW and now OER, Open Educational Resources. And, you know, in the past, we'd have to go make copies of things and so forth. Now it can be distributed online. There are benefits to having OER and OpenCourseWare in terms of flexible content and flexible delivery and this community of sharing and personalizing your learning. The time you can save by using other people's contents or your own contents over and over. A lot of benefits. staff capacity. We can build up and ramp up courses quickly, and we can maybe foster the digital learning skills of our learners. Maybe utilize more engaging content that's embedded in the OER. Maybe we even promote a community where we're sharing and sharing our research. But some problems also exist with the OER in terms of people not being able to find what they need, not having good enough quality, or at least concerns about quality. They haven't been properly vetted or evaluated. They may not fit with our goals and our intentions or our curriculum standards. They might not be accessible, so it might be technical issues, passwords, and so forth, or the proper, equipment, software to access and locate. Might not be interoperable on multiple platforms. There could be problems in training of the students, training of the instructors on how to use, or in how to curate contents for others to use. There might be a lack of buy-in from the administrators or skepticism, a lack of knowledge, a lack of awareness on the part of the instructors. All sorts of things could be problematic. There's a lot of resources out there for K-12 and for adults. Curriculum Wiki, Merlot, which is actually higher ed related. We had the director of Merlot in this class last year as a guest, Dr. Gerald Hanley from California, now at Cal State Long Beach. The Khan Academy, many people have heard about. Salman Khan and the Khan Academy just created these videos in his spare time for his nephews and nieces, and they kind of went viral. You have different licenses. It's called copyleft that we can place on our contents that we put on the web. And so instead of having things copyrighted, we have it copylefted. CC Common license, Creative Commons license. You can have share alike use, allowing derivative works under the same license, or non-commercial use, or no derivative uses without permission from the original author. So again, there's a lot of contents out there that we can access, whether it's simulations or animations or books out there. In one website called ck12.org is an example of a book or a piece of curriculum that we can use in our classes. Sophia, a whole suite of videos that we can use in our classes. You name it, there are OER Commons. You can find all sorts of free contents in OER Commons. So, take a look. You just need to give yourself license to go explore MIT OpenCourseWare. Hundreds of thousands of people use it. Actually, millions use it every year. And I've been researching MIT OpenCourseWare, and they have supported me in my research. They've put my research plug in their newsletter. Now, when Charles Best said, "Let's make all courses free to the world," I immediately sent my resume to MIT offering to be the director of the program, and they never replied. Don't know why, but today they're expanding well beyond their original intent. They have all 2,100 and some courses available from MIT online, at least the syllabus, the schedule, the assignments, and so forth, but there's no instructor behind that. There are courses in poetry, in British royalty, in cognitive science, you name it, and there are people all around the world accessing those contents. Sustainable energy, geometry, pop culture, fairy tales, Greek history, gender and society and health, geographic information systems, you name it, there's stuff. Mostly people are looking at things for English and then math and science kinds of areas. Excuse me. I'll try and bear with this one. This is really a painful lecture. I just have kind of a sinusitis thing, and they won't give me drugs. I haven't even tried. So For high school kids, you can take advanced placement courses and so forth. You can take statistics and physics and biology, Spanish. Wonderful, possibilities for high school kids to maybe take the first year of college through it, taking advanced placement courses after taking these MIT practice courses, learning about advanced Spanish or chemistry or physics, and then being able to ramp up in those fields and then take the intro courses in college, and in effect saving your parents or yourself or your friends money. And that's the thing today. We hear all these politicians talk about free college. They should be talking about utilizing free contents that are available to take the advanced placement courses. There are now summits in open education. David Wiley on the right there, and Cable Green on the left. Well, Cable Green's in charge of Creative Commons, and David Wiley's helped create something called Lumen Learning, which wraps around services around the online free contents. David Wiley helped create the Open High School of Utah. David Wiley helped create other such entities, and was one of Fast Company's top 100 people a couple of years ago, and was the only educator in the list. He and I will be writing a piece, an introductory piece of in ET R&D for a special issue on emerging technologies in a couple of months. But he is one of the foremost leaders in openness. To put all MIT contents on the web, they needed a platform, and University or Utah State, where he was at the time, built such a platform for putting your courses up online. He since has gone to Brigham Young from Utah State and now works independently. But Cable Green promoting Creative Commons, and David Wiley promoting Open Ed. David Wiley created a conference 18 or so years ago called Open Ed, and I was at it this past fall in October and November for the first time. And actually it was the last time it will be offered after 18 or 19 years. Well, David Wiley, you got to realize, is a really interesting person in that Cable Green had liver cancer, and David was a perfect match, and David gave up 3/4 of his liver to save Cable Green's life this year, and just last summer or late last spring. And Cable survived, and David's liver regrew, and he saved his life. And he went on to both be at, I met them both at the 16th annual Open Ed conference. They actually had t-shirts: be kind, be grateful, be generous, just like giving up your liver, be supportive, be forgiving, be helpful, be humble, be creative, be committed, be genuine, be willing, be open. That's Lumen Learning's, where David works now, his motto, or their motto. Education is sharing is the motto. The emergence of Open Ed, if you will. And so David was one of the foremost players when MIT said, let's make content free to the world. He was in the field already, created what was called learning objects, and making those learning objects free for other people to utilize. And this year at the Open Ed conference, there was a bit of a problem in that at the opening part of the conference, David announced that it would be the last such conference of Open Ed, that they were going to reform into something new. Maybe 2 conferences. There's a lot of people out there who don't believe that commercial interests of vendors should be involved in a Open Ed conference. And so they were protesting, in effect, or causing some issues. And so David just said that this will be the last time, and maybe there needs to be one conference that will have sponsors like vendors, and one conference that will run without those. And we'll see how that goes. But they had the largest group ever at the Open Ed conference this past year. I don't know if they got to 1,000, but they had a lot of people, and it continues to grow. But Open Ed is now closed, at least temporarily. There also is a global Open Ed conference called OE Global that was held in Milano, Italy last year. It was held in South Africa the year before. And there's a website called the conference.oe Consortium. And you can find out that next year, or later this year, it will be in Taipei if the coronavirus is defeated by then. We'll assume it's going to be in Taipei. I know some conferences are delayed in Korea and in China and other places. But yeah, in Taipei in November. And you can take a look at the website. There's not much available, but it'll be at Taipei Medical University. I've been to Taipei many times. I've not been there. Just in Taipei about a little over a year ago. The Open Courseware Consortium has many institutions, hundreds of them, countries and languages. If you go online and take a look, they actually have teachers being recognized for getting awards or getting awards for their teaching with open contents. They actually have case studies of people who get who save money for students by using open resources, open books, and other kinds of things. So they have other things besides the conference at that website. They have example content. We now have Open Ed Week. The first week, full week of March will be Open Ed Week across the entire country and around the world, actually. A celebration of the global openness movement. Its goal is to raise awareness about the movement and the impact on teaching and learning worldwide. Get involved, see what you can do, volunteer, give a talk. There are many members of the Open Courseware Consortium, or OCW Consortium. You can see 10 in Australia, 3 in Africa, 105 in US, 47 in Southeast Asia, 32 in Europe, 5 in South America, a couple in Fiji or wherever that is. And so there's Athabasca University in Canada, or we've got, Johns Hopkins, a big player, the Bloomberg School of Public Health at Johns Hopkins, African Virtual University, the Open U of the Netherlands. I know people from all those places. And they have webinars. So they have cases, they have conferences, they have Teachers of the Year, they have resources, they have webinars and courses that you can take. So get involved. OER Week is just a couple of weeks away, your best time of the year. There's actually a map which will show you OER around the world, how you can access different contents in different regions of the world. Pretty cool. You just click on a part of the map and you can explore what's available from South Africa or Brazil or Korea or wherever. Now the OER movement is really impacting textbooks today. And publishers are having difficulty pricing their books. Macmillan in particular, McGraw-Hill, Cengage, all of these, Pearson, they're moving to different pricing and different ideas in terms of marketing, that it might involve some aspect being global and some things you pay for. The OER movement is, and the OCW movement is snowballing with the emergence of MOOCs, with MOOCs on almost anything you ever wanted to know about. As we know from Jim and a guy who was our guest, who took 700 and some MOOCs, it's an exciting time to be a learner. It's an exciting time to be an instructor. As we move into this large MOOC world, we need to translate contents. And so one of the articles for this week or for last week was by Grace Lynn and Mimi Lee and myself, looking at the OOPS project, the open source, open courseware prototype system, OOPS. And in the OOPS project, my friend Lucifer Chu translated Lord of the Rings to Chinese at age 26, made $1 million. He took half that money to make it available so we could translate MIT OpenCourseWare to Chinese, translate it to simplified and traditional Chinese. We now have Coursera creating a translation community for their MOOCs. We see a localization of the content. And so the OOPS team was the largest translation team in the world at one point for OpenCourseWare. And that's what we studied, and you can read about the issue there. That's my friend Lucifer. He's a gamer. He dresses in all black. He is the janitor of OOPS. He cleans up the messes. You can write him an email. His email is there, lucifer.chu@gmail.com. He's now more political in nature at night. He's on a nightly political show. I saw him a year ago in Taiwan and had dinner with him. But there's, again, the OOPS network. And there's an example of a course that's been translated from English to Chinese. They translate just the text first, They might translate the videos later as a second round. So first, just the text documents, the lecture notes and the assignments. And then they might translate the video lectures. And there are many such students coming from around the world, whether it's an airplane pilot in Bombay taking a computer science course to learn programming, or the woman on the left learning operations management, or the kids, the young men and women in Rwanda learning from OER, learning from open educational resources that were translated for them, or maybe they're in English. They're taking existing contents and utilizing them in the African Virtual University and creating degrees. They call it a degree in a box, associate degrees and even bachelor's degrees. The problem of some MOOCs is that, as many people point out and flag out there, is many students don't complete them. They don't finish the MOOC. I will call it drop-in rate rather than drop-out rate, but anyway, some people are looking at the number of learners that actually earn a certificate, like Jim and Nagaya, or who stick with the course or finish the course. Why did they finish it? Were they interested in the topic? Were they curious about the topic? Do they want professional development? Do they want formal education? And so a series of courses were looked at the University of Edinburgh, and my second MOOCs book doesn't have a chapter from Edinburgh, but my first one does. 3 people at the University of Edinburgh wrote a chapter and talked about the courses that are offered via the MOOC from there. And many just want to learn more about the subject. Many just want to see what a MOOC is like. Many just want to browse a MOOC. Many just want career prospects. Not there for a certificate or a degree per se. Just interest in the topic, personal satisfaction. They prefer to learn online, but many don't finish because they lose interest, they forget about it, and so forth. So humans are highly curious creatures. The self-directed humans are in particular, and I think MOOCs appeal to the self-directed learner. I've been talking fast because I think I'm going to barely finish this lecture and just crash. So, the independent learner, the self-confident learner, they want meaningful and relevant learning. They want to self-monitor. They want to self-evaluate. So self-directed learners are particularly, I would say, suited for a MOOC environment, for an OER environment, where you choose the contents you want, you choose the courses you want. Well, we put out a survey to all the MIT OpenCourseWare users, 156,000 of them who get their newsletter. 1,400 of them took the survey. It's not a large percent, but it's a large, in terms of numbers, not a large percentage of them. 613 in effect completed our interview types of questions. Half and half were over 40 or under age 40. Most were men from North America, 23% from Asia, but many came from Brazil and Indonesia, Nigeria, Canada, Iran, Egypt, and so forth. And it was published in one of the articles for this week. You will see that in there about MIT OpenCourseWare subscribers. So why did they explore? Curious, they needing some info, just need a little bit of info. How do I fix my bicycle kind of things? They want to learn something. They want to self-improve. They're curious. This is just, they want to be a better human being, in effect. It's a hobby. They want to contribute to society. What do they want to learn? Well, this is MIT OpenCourseWare. So math and science and some foreign language and so forth, other health, history, and so forth. Again, what did they achieve? Well, I got a new skill. I got a competency. I got something to help society with. I got some basic fix-it skills. I got to better my life. You don't really see until you get way down the list wanting college credit, wanting a bachelor's degree. Humans want to learn. the media is so hung up on degrees that it's doing a disservice to those of us in the game of open and distance learning. Deans, department heads, friends, they all have this hang up about MOOCs not being good enough, people are dropping out. But MOOCs are good enough for people to drop in. Millions of people are dropping in, 110 million people last year dropping in. Wanting to better themselves, wanting personal freedom, wanting to feel better about their lives, wanting a new career perhaps that might be on the horizon out there. They haven't even thought about yet, but because of the MOOC or because of open education, because of maybe even a blended course, they got to dip their toe in the water and test it out, try it out. Who can I help today? And help myself along the way. You know, it's not just instrumental reasons that we're learning via the MOOC. We got this hobby, we got this interest, we got this curiosity, we got this freedom to learn, personal freedom. Carl Rogers, the humanist, freedom to learn. Not just to learn to get a job. No, that can happen, it's fine. But to be a better human being, we're not on the planet. We're not on the planet necessarily to go, become a school superintendent or a counselor. That might bring in money. We're on the planet to help other people out and to personally grow. Having a degree and getting a job, that's all good along the way. That's wonderful. But after you retire, what are you going to do? Has your life changed from taking a MOOC and taking open courseware? The majority of people's lives have changed. I mean, look at that. Lives are changing. It's not just test scores. It's not just retention rates. They found personal identity has changed. They have fun, control, freedom, adventure. They're creating stuff, generating knowledge, not just receiving knowledge. They're sharing. They're getting feedback from somewhere in the system. What a wonderful life of people taking these OCWs, taking open courseware and browsing them. How many experiences in life are going to offer you freedom, choice, control, fun, creation, support, collaboration, sharing? I mean, how many experiences in life? Count them on your hands that you've had that provide all that. Yet they get downplayed as this inferior quality. They can't find it. It won't amount to a degree. No. Look at all these other things that could focus in on. There are problems. Sure, there are problems, just like all technologies that emerge. Time issues, and it might be cost issues or quality or training, the difficulty or support. There could be these things, and there are these things, and the website can be blocked. It's happened to me. So we asked people in the open-ended questions. Remember, there's 413 or so that answered the open-ended questions. And we asked about that. What are your goals? What are your obstacles? What are the key peak moments that you had in using this stuff? What do you want to accomplish? So we had a teenager, 14 years old, said, I'm watching Walter Lewin, an MIT professor, and he's inspiring me. Oh my God, is he great? Those of us in less developed countries, he might have been in Egypt, he was in the Middle East. We can learn a lot by watching these esteemed professors out there. This could help us out a lot. And I've decided to go major in college in physics. So this stuff has influenced his career choice. This stuff has helped one person decide not to get a PhD, that she could learn enough on her own to finish with her master's and then learn how to blog, learn social media, start a new business. She didn't have to waste 5 years. I'm sorry for all of you in the EDD program. I didn't mean it that way. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. She could control her time. There's someone in 31 to 40 could learn skills, programming skills, Lisp skills, which is AI-based programming, could learn some things, get an enhancement in their current job, or could learn, as this gentleman in his 40s, learning calculus again so he could re-enter graduate school, getting ready for college again as an adult learner. 51 to 60-year-old female in North America could go online and meet people whose work they respected and communicate, interact with them. It's not just about the contents, but about the community that forms, the communication that happens with these famous people to learn about her area, musical cognition. And there, Daniel Levitan, famous guy apparently in music, wrote her back. The single most exciting learning moment I've ever experienced. This is a single thing. And yet the news would never pick up on something like this. All they talk about is whether they pass or fail. Not about inspiration, the passion, the commitment that happens as a result of this. 65-year-old male finds lynda.com. It's a eureka moment. He and his wife are starting a sailing business as they retire, and they learned web development skills. They learned all sorts of things. We learned technology and social media as we traveled and ended up on fantastic, exotic places. Now at 65 years old, they're going back to school and going to get their computer science degrees. Both of them, all exciting. Just trying things out, toying around with a little bit, playing with it a little bit, just trying the content. And that, playful notion turned into a serious master's degree or computer science degree or whatever. Photographer, retired after having multiple careers, including an administrator, including a scientist, including information technologist, now decides to do photo media, or photo art, or write books, and is helped by MIT OpenCourseWare. Second study, my friends at Blackboard sponsored me to do the first MOOC for Blackboard about 8 years ago. I gave it a shot. I don't know. Was I successful? Maybe, I guess. So, Juris, there on the left, and I'm blinking who's on the right, were helping me at Blackboard. They got me TAs to teach a MOOC. Well, at the end of doing that, we had a survey of the participants. We had 3,800 by the end enrollments. We kept it open. It was 5 weeks. It was mostly webinars, but they turned into a MOOC. And Dr. Mimi Lee and I published a paper in the Journal of Learning for Development. Today I got galley proofs of a new article in the Journal of Learning for Development that Maina Ju and I are publishing on self-directed learning in MOOCs from the standpoint of the instructors. So I've been mining this area for a while. This one had a smaller sample size. It had older, more experienced teachers who were in North America mainly. The thing was, Blackboard developed a tool, a free tool, called Course Sites. And Course Sites, I'll loosen up my tie so I can breathe again. Course Sites was offered free to the world. And people who are using Course Sites were never trained to teach. So they asked me to come in to be an instructor in Course Sites to teach people how to teach online. And initially it was going to be webinars. And I said, after being twisted, they had twisted my arm many times, I said yes. And then they said, let's make it a MOOC. Tricky little guys, tricky people there at Blackboard. So I agree, we called it a MOOC, and some people didn't like Blackboard because Blackboard was suing every other vendor or buying them out. And so because I was doing a MOOC for Blackboard, I became the Antichrist for a while. Everything I did was wrong. If it wasn't a connectivist, lovey-dovey, hug 'em MOOC, it was not the right MOOC. Mine was kind of a hybrid MOOC with some sharing, some direct instruction, and other things. But Blackboard never built the tools for a MOOC. And so we had a problem early on in the profile tool. If you filled it out, your profile would be sent on an email to everybody in the class. So people got thousands of emails. They blame me for Blackboard's, issue. And every week, certain people would come in to try and sabotage the system. They wanted it to fail. So I taught the first MOOC for Blackboard, but also the first MOOC at IU. I taught it in the studio in IST. And there were people trying to get it to fail. It was not a good thing. It's not a pleasure moment in my life, but I can reflect on it now, 8 years later. I didn't die. People didn't throw tomatoes. I had TAs that helped me. And during break in the synchronous sessions, my TAs played music. It was really cool, actually, in the long run. But they were there. People want to learn informally. What do they want to learn? They want to learn foreign language, culture, and global info and health. Unlike the MIT OpenCourseWare project, where they wanted to learn math and science and languages, now number one was language. These were primarily teachers, and they were learning online. They're interested in the topic. They want growth. They're curious. They need some info. Look at this, personal choice and freedom. They just want to learn something. They want to contribute to society. All these things are intrinsic in value, right? So we're utilizing the open contents, learning informally from a MOOC or from OCW on a personal volition, our passion, our interests. We want to just learn something. We want to feel better about myself as a learner, personal freedom, keeping up with my friends, feel better about myself as a human being. Again, the affective side, the social side, the conation. Look up conation. It was the third part in psychology. It was emphasized 100 years ago or so, and it kind of got downplayed over time. It's really the most important side. It's not just affect and cognition. We need conation or striving or willpower. Your mindset, as Carol Dweck calls it, or your grit, your grittiness, as Angela Duckworth calls it. Look up Angela Duckworth or Carol Dweck's TED Talk, either one. This is what it's all about. It's about striving to complete someone out of your own volition, your passion, your freedom to learn, Carl Rogers would say. Your freedom to learn and produce and collaborate, have control over something, have some fun along the way, share along the way, give advice, get advice, be part of a community of learners. Who supports your learning? According to our Blackboard users, my friends support my learning, my colleagues support my learning, experts support my learning, and people I never met. People never met was more important than the teachers and instructors. Friends and colleagues, more important than teachers and instructors. Experts out there, the Expert Cafe or wherever you want to go, more important. Teachers are not the only people out there helping you to learn. There's so many others that you'll never meet. Maybe you'll stumble into them. I met 15 people of the 68 people in my book, MOOCs and Open Ed in the Global South. Came out in November. I met about 15 during this fall at 2 or 3 conferences, just for the first time ever. Half of them just happened to be going to a conference where many of them went to. You would be surprised how many times I walk into a setting where someone walks up to me and says, I took your MOOC. So of the 3,800 people who ended up taking my MOOC, I met many of them and they become my friends. When I taught my MOOC, I made many friends. We asked people teaching MOOCs if they made friends, and the majority do not. I think that's a problem. That's the problem with MOOCs. They're not treating it as a place to learn, exchange, and create communities. They're treating their MOOC as a place to depart or deliver, disseminate knowledge. Have you experienced life change? Again, people taking MOOCs, moving into OER, are experiencing a life-changing moment. This is aha, wow, this is a cool thing. So we ask them, again, the same kind of questions, goals and obstacles, purpose, and so forth. Sometimes it improves your job prospects. Sometimes it feeds your hobby. Sometimes it might build to a certificate. That's okay. Sometimes it expands one's formal learning. What was interesting is that people would say, as soon as you go to credential, as soon as you want to assess me, I want out. As soon as you want to test me, I want out. I'm here to learn. And the silly system of education that we set up for centuries is built on assessing the learning, making assessment primary and not learning be primary. Humans are learning creatures. Humans are goal-driven creatures. We need to build educational systems that provide for the opportunities to learn. The person number one said he had life-changing experience in every possible way, beyond anything he thought about. In his personal life and professional life, he calls it extreme doing. Second person said, I view the way I make all choices in life, how I raise my kids, how I teach, how I negotiate international agreements, all changed from taking a MOOC or from using open contents. My approach, my decisions, my motivation. Third person said, I got my PhD idea from taking a MOOC. You know, the changes that are taking place in higher education today, the forms of credentialing are transforming. I'm going to research that for my PhD. Another person said, my job has become easier. It's become, at the same time, it's become more challenging because I take on greater challenges. It's become more enjoyable because I accomplish those things. It has become more open and more respectful because my husband respects me for my computer science skills I learned through open education. I learned through hackathons. I learned through code academies. I learned through code camps. This woman had learned some computer programming and was able to use this in her job, in her daily life, and her husband sees her using it and he respects her more. This is mind-boggling. Respect from your spouse is not in the paper when they say dropout rates. Do they ever talk about how much more respect we get at home, self-esteem that's raised, and the willingness to learn more as a result because you ended a cycle of entering, not avoiding failure, not being risk averse? The fear of failure syndrome goes away, the learned helplessness system. All the kids we think about in inner city schools getting to learn helplessness and reading, they score low on a reading test and then they don't read so much and then they keep scoring lower. You know, this self-esteem and having a friend group that loves the golden nuggets that you learned in the podcast show, that you've learned in your MOOC, and you share with them on the daily commute, or you share with them at lunch, or you start a new business that supplements your income, or maybe takes the place of your income. Like example number 6, he said, supplements, I gain more income this way. Another person said, without the online contents, without the online experiences and the courses that I took, if I went to face-to-face at Indiana University, well, maybe not. If I went to face-to-face at Purdue, I'd be stuck with just learning 20-year-old ideas that are outdated because the professors don't update. They don't like creating a monster syllabus, all that new stuff, fangled stuff. They especially the stat professors can teach the same thing. They bring in their papers, and they just bring it on back, and they have another, and they just bring them back, and every week's the same old, same old. They got the same old book this year and the same book they had last year and the year before. But the MOOC's been updated. New contents. I'm excited. I can learn about indigenous populations and stories of indigenous populations and share those that I had no idea about, because some of the most famous people in the world are teaching these MOOCs, and they're sharing their, their anthropological digs or their interviews that they had done in Papua New Guinea. One of my students has been in Papua New Guinea on the Clean Water Enhanced project recently. And she's got all sorts of stories to tell about being in Papua New Guinea, about being back in Bhutan, where she was born, doing research there on schools. Lived experiences. I had one student who was in Ghana. He was going to study 3 school districts. And he wrote me an email, says, I'm not going to be able to do the 3rd one. I said, why not? He said, well, up in the north, the ruler of the northern region had his head chopped off yesterday, and I really don't think it's safe to go there. I said, Kwame, I don't think you should go to that region. I agree with you. Hearing from people who have those rich experiences, like Jim Nagaya last hour, we talked to him in the previous segment. Watch that, hear from Jim, read his articles and so forth. All these socially situated, culturally situated stories will help you teach the content, because you understand the social historical nature of the people living in that experience. Example number 9, my life changed in a big way as a result of the MOOC. It helped me redesign one of my educational approaches. I'm now providing workplace training that's more interactive, engaging, and innovative because of the MOOC. Another person said, it has changed because I've learned new things and got more creative in my own field. The key moment was when I felt the world is becoming what? The world's becoming open for learning, as Dr. Bonk would describe it. Okay. So, no need to travel to the countries. I can learn virtually. Thank you very, very much, and save the time and money. Don't have to go to China and worry about coronavirus. So some bonus ones. Excuse me. Some bonus ones. I spent the 3 years discovering Japanese manga and comics and animated TV shows, and I learned Japanese language through that vicariously. I got interested enough that I went to Japan for 1.5 years as an online course. I did 1.5 years of Japanese as an online correspondence course. Didn't go there, but it changed his life or her life. Access to the internet and in the daily life. Access to the internet, learning linear algebra at Everett Community College. I think it's in Seattle, I'm pretty sure. Learning about eigenvalues and factor analyses and all sorts of things. I watched it over and over and over again until I aced it. So these things you can replay. What's nice about online environments is you can learn it till you'll watch it and read it until you master it. And then I could take the test in under 10 minutes. The instructor is totally blown away. Number 3, while conducting my family history for my doctoral research or a family history, certain links led me to discover other clues and data and ideas that shaped my dissertation study. I was able to go more deeply into it. Like the example last week in extreme learning of the doctoral student in Australia who learned about places of interest in Afghanistan through Google Maps. So the web offered a view of something different, something unique, something more expansive than you could have found out through books alone or through research papers alone. Here's one person said, we were trying to install a pool filter. We got instructions on YouTube. I also bought an exercise bike, a recumbent exercise bike. I looked up online before making a choice. I didn't have to ask and look dumb in front of someone. I'm kind of an introvert. I can learn all that I need to know informally on the web. I can learn what I need just in time. I can look incredibly smart to my friends. It may be slightly narcissistic. And they appreciated my knowledge and my point of view. I was able to use that knowledge that I gained from my MOOC. I could join a community of like-minded peers or scholars. I no longer feel disconnected from everyone else. I have a support network online. And I have social capital that I get from that online group, and I provide to that online group. I have friends I can talk to about new technologies or about innovations in occupational therapy or whatever it is. One day, I'm riding my bicycle, learning Korean in my ears on an iPod, and I walked into the takeout Korean place and I ordered food in Korean, and it worked. All the words that I had learned worked in that conversation. I was so blown away. It was just such a top peak experience. It was relevant to me. It was relevant to me. So things are community-based, identity-based, and relevant. But of course, there's challenges in finding, challenges in selecting, challenges in your bosses accepting something that might be more informal than formal, and challenges from always being tested. Yesterday I had a note to take a FIPA test, or FERPA, what FERPA rules. I got all 10 right. I didn't know what the heck, I printed all the study guide. I didn't really refer to that, but constantly they want to test us. Do we know the FERPA rules? Do we know every 3 years you got to take the same human subjects exam? All these stupid, lot of questions. Have I forgotten them from 3 years ago? Yeah. Will I forget them again in 10 minutes? Yeah. But for those 10, or actually it takes 4 hours to take the silly exam. Supposedly in those 4 hours, I'm more ethical. We want to test. Did it make me more ethical? I don't really think so, but look at the accountants. I took the CPA exam, which includes an ethics exam at the end. I studied for 1 hour or 2 hours, took the ethics exam, passed. Look at Enron. After Enron, those accountants had to change the ethics exam. Oh my God. Hardest part about MOOCs are finding the MOOC. Hardest part about, will it work? What's for me? What's out there? Where do I go to find it? And how do I select it? How do I sign up? Learning for enjoyment versus learning for credentials. I just want to play around. I just want to try it out. Too much of learning wants to be badged. Too much of learning wants to be validated. Oh my God. I'm bored to tears with this testing stuff, accreditation stuff. I want to play around. I want to dip my toe in the water. I just want to try it out and be spontaneous. I just want to be spontaneous, throw the computer up in the air, But I can't do that because the darn people are going to test me. But I can get my certificate if I do, accomplish something. So we did some secondary analysis of the same data, and some of the reasons for using OpenCourseWare and MOOCs was just obtaining information. Some of it was for a work context, helping them in work. Some of it was self-study. Some of it was to solve a problem, fixing things. Before the program, online learning helped me get prepared for and interested in the topic. It dipped my toe in, so I got interested. During the program, I could fill in the holes in my knowledge. I could get some positive reinforcement and some self-respect. I could give knowledge to others as a selfless human being out there. I could get others to be interested in the topics I was learning about. I might get better grades. I might get more respect from others. But, I got to consult with others, got to give advice to others. I got to help others out. I got to become a better parent through homeschooling and being more knowledgeable about a topic I got to not only be a better professor at MIT, I got to be a better father at home. I got a certificate. I got on the job market. I did well in the interview. Okay, that's instrumental. I got to learn some strategies or some perspectives of others. I got knowledge to help me grow in my career, change jobs. I got aware of cultural differences and diversity. So, all these kinds of things, some are related to your life, some are related to others, some are impacting society as a whole, helping addicted people to learn something. Could take that new knowledge and help me become a better parent. Could learn about online learning and degrees and enter a program. So it served as a stepping stone for something else. Lead a more flexible lifestyle. Satisfy intrinsic motivators for me, my own pleasure. It's empowering to me. So, I continue to research my interests for my own pleasure. And have email alerts that get me to find new things. Did we get help? Do we get help? Some people don't get any help. They just learn online informally. Other people need some advices online. But they're having some life change. Learning it on their own, being more self-reliant, being more self-motivated, and having a sense of creating, designing, doing, generating, not just receiving, assuming, assimilating from someone else. Delight in a range of information, like my monster syllabus. Take pride in that and distribute it. So that's week 6 in a nutshell. My slides are posted for all of you to the Dropbox. I hope you get a chance to take a look at them. I did update them a bit with 2020 data. I will have to update the slides in Dropbox. I will try and do that this afternoon. It is Thursday afternoon, February 20th of 2020. So I didn't realize it. It's 2 or 02 20 2020. Oh my God. 22220000. I'm sure I'm the last one to figure it out. I'm sure all of you are having toasts at work. Welcome to Education 2020. I'll toast to that. It's a highly successful week and off we go. So, I presented the 2 studies that we did with the derivatives at the end, searching for how they're using open contents, how they're using MOOCs to change their lives and their lifestyles. What is happening in their lives and how is their life changing as a result of the open contents that are out there. It's an exciting week. It's exciting for me. I hope it's exciting for you. We are now moving into 3 weeks in a row of open ed and MOOCs and more MOOCs, and then developing world, which is more open ed and MOOCs, and then we get to maker spaces and other things. So because I have 3 books on open ed, I thought it'd be appropriate to at least have 2 weeks devoted to that. I hope you don't mind. Thank you for coming, and I will stop the recording now. Yes. Goodbye.